couple of weeks ago, you might remember that on our Meet the Team piece, we had Miriam Kelly with us. Well, this week, Miriam Kelly goes from interviewee to interviewer as she talks to NCBI service user Martin Lawlor on how technology has impacted his life in this week's Seeing It Your Way piece.
Everyone, this is Miriam Kelly, and I am delighted to welcome our guest today for the Seeing It Your Way part of the NCBI Technology Live event. In this part of the show, our guest tells us about how technology supports them in their sight loss, often sharing the tips and advice of what worked or maybe didn't work for them. I met today's guest shortly after joining NCBI, and over the years, I've had the privilege of being involved in the evolution of his technical journey. Would you please join me in a warm welcome to Martin Lawlor. Martin, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Marion, for having me on. Delighted to be here.
It's lovely to have you on, Martin. And as I said in the introduction, I met you shortly after joining the NCBI. But for the listeners who don't know you, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I will indeed. So, Miriam, I'm totally blind since birth, and I'm from Carrow originally, but now living in Dublin, in Clontarf with my wife, Carissa. And my journey on technology, as I said, I got a lot of training from yourself when you started off in NCBI in 2011. And,
you have a good memory, Martin.
Yeah. So my first training, which it was on the Windows laptop, my computer Windows, which I used JAWS as a screen reader. And JAWS reads everything back to you. So I got a lot of training from yourself, and then just progressed on with technology. Whereas I tried a few different gadgets. And
can you remember what your first piece of technology was, Martin?
Yeah, my first piece was the Victor Reader Stream. I got that in 2009, and
what is that? Can you describe what that is?
So the Victor Reader Stream is an MP3 player that speaks, and it has tactile buttons, and it can read audio books, text files. You can put music on it. So it's an MP3 player that speaks everything out. And to use it, you have to have an SD card with it. And once you put the stuff onto your SD card, it'll play everything for you.
And Mark, could you just describe, just interrupting there, could you just describe for our listeners what an SD card is? What do you mean by that?
So an SD card is a storage device where you can put it into your computer and then copy your books onto it, or your text files or music, and once you put it into the stream, then the stream will organize it. And it groups it in folders, and you can navigate through the list of books and music on the SD card.
And would you have a preference for using the Victor Reader Stream, Martin, for the audiobooks, or what would be your preference? Have you used anything else, or is that your preference still?
The stream is my preference, but sometimes I use the Plex Top Pocket. That's another device that I have, and again, I use that mainly for recording, but I would use it for my books. But the stream is probably the one I use a lot. Yeah.
And the Plex Top Pocket, I know that we've used that before as well. But for some of our students maybe listening, it's a good recording device, isn't it? Where you could record lectures, maybe if you're in college and that sort of thing too, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is, and it's pocket size, so it's actually smaller and slimmer than the Victor Stream is. And the recording quality is very good on it.
It is very good on it, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And Martin, could you bring us through what a typical day would be for you, you know, from a technology point of view? Like, what would you do? How would technology influence your day?
Okay, so I use a different range of technology. I use the Amazon Echo, and the Amazon Echo is a smart speaker, and what it does is once you get it set up through your Wi-Fi, you can actually speak to it and you can add skills to it, and I use that, and I also use the Google Home Mini. Now again, that's another smart speaker which is connected to Wi-Fi, and once you get it set up, you can control it with your voice. So, and then I use my Windows laptop with JAWS and to read my emails and surf the internet. And last year, I went to the iPhone from a complete button phone straight to a touchscreen phone.
Have you any windows left in the house, Martin?
Yeah, I have. And I have to say, like, there is a steep learning curve to the iPhone, but once you get past that, it's absolutely fantastic. And how I use the iPhone, Miriam, is I have a keyboard called the Rivo keyboard, and it has got 20 keys on it, and I can control the whole iPhone with it without touching the touchscreen.
And Martin, you would use this little Rivo keyboard purely because you have a preference for the physical keys. Can you just describe for the viewers who don't know what it is? What size of a keyboard are we talking about, Martin?
Yeah, so the Rivo is credit card size.
Oh, great.
20 keys on it. So going from the left side of the keyboard, you've got L1, L2, L3, L4. And then on the right side, you've got R1, R2, R3, R4. And then in the middle, you have your number pad. So this little keyboard will actually control the whole iPhone. And you can actually answer calls with the Rivo as well and use it as a speaker.
And so if it's only the size of a credit card then, Martin, it's not a bit of grief, is it, to carry it around with you when you have your iPhone anyway, which is probably around the same size?
No, it isn't. It's the same size, yeah. Yeah, it's credit card size. So it's very easy to slip in your pocket and use it. And I find it a big help, especially for typing text messages. Now I know you can use Siri a lot, but if you want to type a message quickly, I use the Rivo, and you can also plug headphones into the Rivo and have VoiceOver speak on the Rivo, so you can use it with headphones as well.
Isn't that great, Martin? It's because you prefer the physical keys. You don't actually need this Rivo to use your iPhone. Isn't that correct? It's just you have a preference for it.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. I have a preference for the physical keys, but using the Rivo since last year, since I got the iPhone, that was a big change for me, going from a button phone straight to the iPhone.
But as you said earlier, the iPhone has quite a steep learning curve when you're coming from the button phones.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. But the apps that I use on the iPhone, I use Seeing AI. I use the Lazarillo GPS app. That's a navigation app, and I use Blind Square. And another app that I bought recently was called Just Press Record, where I record things on the iPhone now as well.
Martin, you mentioned there that you have two navigation apps, one called Lazarillo and the other called Blind Square. Do you have a preference as to which one that you would use, or are you using both, or do you keep one just as kind of a backup, or what way do you operate the two apps?
I use Blind Square because there's in the settings you can set Blind Square to chimes, and when you're passing buildings or shops, Blind Square will make a chime to let you know you've passed. So I use Blind Square a lot, and I don't use Lazarillo as much as I used to. Since I got Blind Square, I'm using that. I think it gives you more information. So But,
And can you just let us know, Martin, is there a price that you paid for these, or are they free, or can you just explain to?
The Lazarillo app is free, but Blind Square comes with I think it was around €40, but then you can buy an add-on which is voice tags. They're around €10, but you don't have to buy them. It's just, you don't have to get them. It's just a premium service. Like what the voice tags are, that you can, when you use them, you can actually ask Blind Square what's your battery level and all of that, and what's your GPS status and all that sort of thing.
And would you have opted for those, Martin? Do you find they're worth paying for?
I haven't really used them much. I just use them now and again. I've still a good few left. Like I think it was around 770 left. So I really haven't used them that much. I just bought them just to test them out, you know.
And can you just explain to the listeners as well, when you're using these navigation apps, you're still, I presume, using your cane, yeah?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
It's just there's new technologies on the horizon all the time, Martin, being developed. So it's just really to keep us all straight.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
So they're really feeding you a lot of information, actually, as you're walking around and, you know, navigating your way around, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And can you set up a route? I mean, if you were going from A to B, can you set up the route then and that? And
you can, yeah, you can set routes up, and you can put landmarks in as well. And I find the Lazarillo app very good too. Like I use Google Maps with both of the apps. So with Lazarillo, I have my home address in, and when I'm out, I can actually go into my favorites and navigate back to home, and Lazarillo will say to me then when I've arrived home. Now, I haven't done it on Blind Square, I've just done it on Lazarillo, and Lazarillo will say you've arrived at home.
If you had one app that was your favorite, do you have a favorite app that you would use, or even a favorite piece of technology that you would use? Because you have quite a range, Martin. I mean, you've got the Google Home, you've got the Amazon Echo, you know, you've got your Victor Reader Stream, you've the Plex Talk, you've got your computer with JAWS, you've got your iPhone, you're like Inspector Gadget, Martin. Do you have a favorite piece?
I think my favorite piece I'd have to be the iPhone at the moment. Anyway, I'm still learning it, but for all the things you can do on it, like it's just fantastic, and has opened up a whole new world for me. Because I have to admit, Miriam, I tried it 3 times, and I gave up on it. But I decided then the third time I tried it, I said I wasn't going to let it beat me. So I stuck with it.
And then I suppose, Martin, too, with the background and with all the different devices and all the different learnings, it all helps. You know, people think you have to know everything, but actually it's not a nice way of learning, but the trial and error sometimes helps as well. So with all the things that you've learned, I'm sure that kind of feeds through with the knowledge and, you know, gives you the impetus to keep going as well.
Yeah, definitely. And like having the training from yourself, and then I had training from a guy in the UK called Mo Iqbal. He trained me on Derivo, because I bought it through him. So he trained me on Derivo and gave me a good few tips as well with the iPhone. And,
isn't it great? Yeah, because you need a bit of help with, and I would say that with any piece of technology, you know, ask for help. And people are just too delighted to be able to help you anyway if they know how to work it. So I think it's, you know, always ask as well. Martin, I'm just wondering, would you have any piece of advice? I know that we all have to start somewhere in our technical journey, but for someone who's just maybe recently starting out with sight loss, or maybe somebody who has some family member who would like to maybe start on technology, would you have any advice for them?
Well, if they're looking for an easy option to start out with and to read books and stuff, I reckon the Victor Reader Stream would be a very good option for someone that's only starting out or wanting a book player to read your books and stuff, because that's very easy to use. And once you start off with that then and progress, like that, then I reckon try the iPhone with the Rivo.
Martin, that's great advice. And listen, thank you so much for joining us today. And can I just
Thank you very much, Marion.
Can I just say, Martin, before we go, to our listeners in particular, that I know that Martin has not only acquired a range of IT skills, but Martin is one of Ireland's finest barrel players. And I have this from one of the top guys in Ireland who plays the barrel, Martin. Martin, you don't have the barrel there by any chance, do you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Would you play us out? I'll say goodbye, Martin, and would you play us out?
Yeah, I will. So I just do a couple of beats for you, Miriam. Yeah.
That's lovely, Martin. And again, Martin, thank you so much, and I appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
Thank you very much, Miriam.
That's lovely, Martin. Thanks again.
Thanks very much, Miriam.